This is a really hard one, actually. I'm not really sure what to say about this one. The Scarlet Letter.
Give me a second. Scarlet Letter is an... No,
way too long. Way too long.
You're watching Movie Talk. Ganchu! I'm Jason.
And I'm Pierce, and welcome to our show. We are very excited, as usual, to present to you some of our favorite Korean films and hopefully to get you excited to watch them yourselves. So today we are talking about a very special film, also a very controversial film. This was my pick. I hope I don't get in trouble for this. The film is called The Scarlet Letter, 주홍글씨 in Korean. It's from 2004. It's directed by Byun Hyuk. It stars Han Suk-kyu and Lee Eun-ju. There's also Eun Ji-won and Song Hyuna. The film itself is kind of like an erotic thriller. It's about Han Suk-kyu plays a detective who is investigating a murder case, and at the same time he's carrying on an affair with a jazz singer played by Lee Eun-ju.
Why watch?
It's one of those films that I think, because of the controversy, we will discuss it, that it's kind of been put in a drawer somewhere, and it's a film that gets rarely talked about.
But the reason why it's controversial is kind of several things. It's a very erotic film, and of course also one of the film stars, Lee Eun-ju, she took her own life not long after the release of the film, and it was indeed her final role. And it's a film that hasn't really been championed much since its controversy. Wherever you land on the film, whether you think it merits the controversy or not, it's a film that is worthy of discussion, and I think it needs to be talked about.
Key scene number 1.
The very beginning of the film is an image of a car trunk, and then like two bullet holes kind of punch through it. Then we have Han Suk-kyu driving in his car, and we have the beginning of a murder investigation. We see this woman covered in blood, like walking along the street. So it's a really interesting beginning, and I would say it's a very exciting beginning that gives kind of a false impression of what the film is going to be.
Right, because you think it's going to be this kind of murder mystery, this procedural thriller, but actually it's not.
It's not. And I think it's probably important to know that because if you have that expectation and it ends up being something quite different, it can be like, oh, that's not what I wanted to watch. But so maybe it's good to know, this is an affair drama, really.
Key scene number 2.
So you have this very intense performance of Shostakovich's Cello Concerto No. 1, a really wonderful piece of music. And at the end of the performance, you have people coming out to congratulate her, and the mistress arrives as well. And then we realize that the mistress and the wife actually already know each other. Twisty scene where we're not sure who knows what, and who's like playing, who's playing.
And then you have
what.
the telephone conversation.
Telephone conversation where they're talking to each other, but like just across the atrium. And then there's the image of the mistress kind of like going down the elevator, and it's all like in green. The mistress is often associated with the color green, which I think has a lot of interesting implications about desire and greed. So for me, this is like one of the most interesting sequences in the film.
Oh, without doubt. For me, it's actually my favorite scene. It's really, really well put together. The cinematography, the placement of the cameras is really quite extraordinary.
Key scene number 3.
The final scene we're going to talk about is that.
This is the one we have to talk about the most, but it's also the hardest to talk about. It's the end of the film. I don't want to say what happens, obviously, but it's just very, very surprising and intense, claustrophobic.
And it goes on for a long time.
It goes on for a very long time, and it's interconnected with a few other things happening. And it was a source of like enormous controversy. It must have been extraordinarily challenging for the actors to shoot it, to even agree to do it. And the impression it leaves is really pretty devastating. So that's the scene that's like absolutely always stayed with me. I think anyone who sees the film will not be able to forget this scene. And I'm sorry I can't go into any more details because that would just be the most horrific spoiler.
Yeah, because it comes at the end of the film. So if we go into any more detail, we're revealing some major spoilers.
Trivia.
It's really quite an impressive piece of work, and I really like how it was written and how it was shot. And it is a shame although I do understand why the film has attracted controversy, not least because of Yoon-ju, who sadly, you know, she was such a terrific actress, such an incredible performance.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you know, beyond the controversy and all the rest of it and the choices she made, the performance that she gives is really remarkable. And, you know, she has had many great performances, and arguably, it's certainly her most challenging role, and I would say her best role. And it's sad because, you know, what could she have done next?
Pop quiz. What model is the detective's prized gun?
A revolver?
It's not. I don't think it's a PP7. I don't know.
총, 시그자워 P216.
What soup does the detective make for his wife?
Well, that one's quite interesting. It's definitely gongamulguk, and what's interesting for me
Great
is,
for a hangover.
and for me it connects to the opening of the film. This dead man is like, his head is dead in a bunch of
you
like
got the kongnamur.
of bean sprouts, and then again you have the detective making and being so proud of his bean sprout soup. So it's a really, really interesting contrast.
What's the detective's code name for his mistress?
Oh, I know what it is. It's the detective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 조연 선생님. Yeah.
조영사. 조영사 웬일이야?
What gift does the detective get for his wife?
There's a doll.
3, 2, 1, jump!
The Scarlet Letter, an affair drama with a difference, with an ending you'll never forget. Extremely controversial. See it, make up your own mind.
Scarlet Letter is an intense but somber film featuring a wonderful performance by the late Yoon-ju. Thanks for watching.
And we hope we've whetted your appetite for this film. And if you do want to watch it, check out the link in the description below. The Scarlet Letter.
Got you!